the Florida Writer Podcast, a discussion about writing and other things.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. And today I am so lucky to be with Victoria Gallagher. Victoria, could you give us a 60-second elevator pitch about who you are and what you write?
Absolutely. So I am a certified hypnotherapist for the last 24 years. I love to write about law of attraction and manifestation techniques, particularly using the power of your mind and meditation. And my books are tailored toward the business professional entrepreneurs, people who are looking to manifest some sort of goal in their life. And my style is around the practicality and making it easy to understand and to apply in your daily life.
Well, that's awesome. I know that the concept of, attraction and being able to sit still with an idea so that it can come to you rather than trying to continually chase it is sometimes a new concept to people. I like to say that I am very good at doing that. I don't think I am.
There's a number of things that I always catch people doing this, for so many years. I always catch people, and I think these are the main focuses that I really try to help people with. And one of them is on just reframing how they think about things. So many times people think in terms, and they don't realize their words are so important. But people, a lot of times they think about what they don't have or what's not happening or what's the resentments or what, and so they focus on things in a kind of a negative way. So I really like to dive into that and help people to reframe things so that it's more positive and it's more focused on what they actually do want. And the second thing that kind of goes along with that is, about the, just the attachment people have in whatever it is that they're going for. A lot of times, if something hasn't happened yet and they want it really bad, it tends to create a lot of anxiety and frustration and fear and doubt and stress and all of that. And we manifest based on our vibration and, based on how we're feeling and the actions that we're taking toward that. And so when we want something really bad, and it puts us in that state, we have to learn how to just, let it go and trust and then, put ourselves into that peaceful, silent state and allow our internal guidance, whether you want to call it the universe or even our own subconscious mind, allow it to present us with the ideas to take action on.
All right. So you mentioned vibrations. And I know the concept, everybody, we're all energy. Everything's energy around us. So do we put out different types of vibrations and can we control that?
We do. We absolutely do control it. So vibration is really kind of a fancy word for saying like your mood or your feeling or your energy in motion, because it's like it is your emotional state, and people can feel your emotional state. You can walk into a room and you can feel the mood in that room, or somebody can walk into a room and they can feel the mood of you. So it's really like you're emitting always this sort of like frequency, this vibration. Now, the things that a person is wanting to manifest, those are also at a different frequency. Now, I don't mean that they are at the same frequency for everyone, but for you, your 100,000 or 7-figure business is on a certain frequency for you. It's going to bring about, like, whenever you think about that, it feels like this. It feels like this to have that. And so then at the vibration that you're at right now, or how you're feeling on a regular basis, is at another vibration. And so that's kind of what I mean by changing your vibration to match what it is that you want. It's really personal. It's not like, oh, there's these, I mean, we can get into the discussion about the scientific energy molecules and atoms and things like that, but that's not what I really specialize in. I really think in terms of what we really do have control over. And what we really do have control over is how we perceive that thing, how we feel about it when we perceive it, and what is our typical mood or vibration or feeling that we spend the majority of our time in. And our job really is to spend more time in a feeling or vibe that is a match for the way that we feel about manifesting the thing that we want. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, but I have been following some people that talk the same way. So to me, I've been using my own personal, I've been, what's the word I'm looking for? Manifesting. No, I have been doing a deep dive in my own self-discovery to try to just level up. That's really what I'm trying to do, is just level up, be more present, not allow myself to become crazy, which at times, you feel like you're just got so much energy that you can't focus. Right. So I'm constantly trying to bring myself back down so that I can focus on what I need to get done with what's in front of me and what's a little bit in the future, so that I can make the strides I need to make to get there. But this is a writing podcast, and the majority of our audience, they're writers. They're working on their work in progress, which could be fiction or nonfiction, but they see an end. They see an idea of where it is, where it's maybe sitting on a bookshelf, or what it looks like on that Amazon thumbnail picture. How do they go from that feeling of, I got to sit down and type, and I'm not feeling it today, but I see that picture on that Amazon page? How do I go from here to there?
Oh, that is a really good question. And I have to maybe bring myself back to when I was writing my book. Because, really the key to it all is to allow yourself to come from that feeling of inspiration, rather than that feeling of desperation to get it done, that, and I'm sure, and we've all been there. It's like, oh gosh, that, having to go through, I mean, and so, I say, when we, you talk about seeing the end result. I say to break that down and spend a little bit more time in that end result, and really actually going through the whole visualization process, thinking about the reviews that you're going to get from all of the thousands and thousands of people who are going to be reading and getting inspired by your book, and actually taking a peek. What do those reviews say about your book? And then taking that down into more specific details, like, well, what was the chapter that really, really stood out to them the most? And, and actually starting to allow yourself to imagine, well, what are some of the words what might be some of the points about that particular chapter. And so I just kind of like to, really get into that, allowing your subconscious mind to come up with more creative ways and more creative solutions, so that it feels fun and it feels like it's not so much of a chore. Even maybe taking, and this isn't necessarily a hypnosis thing, but for me, one of the things that I would do a lot is I would just take walks in nature, and I would just allow myself. I'd take out my phone recorder, And I would just allow myself just to talk, and without there having to be a specific point, but just talk about what's the main topic, and just sort of like let myself rampage and rant about it. And then it would start to formulate into some concrete ideas, just sort of naturally, just allowing it just to formulate into those concrete ideas. And you can do that whether you're just kind of sitting in a different environment to write. Because sometimes, it's like writing in the same environment all the time. You're accessing the same place in your mind all the time. And sometimes that can be a good thing. And sometimes it can cause a little stagnant, cause you to be a little stagnant. So just switching up the energy is going to bring about that sense of creativity. Writing with your non-dominant hand is just another way to stimulate some creativity. But my favorite thing really is to sit in total quiet contemplation in the morning for about 10 or 15 minutes at least, just literally focusing on the breath without even having to worry about the writing at all. And because this is a project, it's up for you. I mean, it's like you're going to get some ideas during that silent time, and just allowing those ideas to sort of unfold in a really organic, natural way. And I think that's where you're gonna be able to like get that bestseller energy, because like writing a bestseller, I mean, it's marketing. Let's just be honest. I mean, writing a bestseller is not necessarily just about the creativity. It's a combination of both, because you have to get good reviews in order to ultimately sustain the bestseller status on there. You've got to get good reviews. So the book needs to be good, but it's also, once the book is written, it's also a marketing endeavor and getting the word out about it. So I kind of went a little bit off the topic here. Just dialing it right back to, really taking some time each day to center yourself in a place of, silent contemplation, and just allowing some, ideas really to flow to you during that time. And maybe even, having a journal during that time to like capture some of the ideas. You can open your eyes for a little while, write some things down. Thank you. Close your eyes, go back right into your, silent meditation.
All right. So I'm perfectly peaceful listening to you, by the way. You have brought me into this perfectly peaceful place. I want to start with what you first mentioned, which was the idea of envisioning reviews, and maybe even narrowing down to what the review said and what parts they really resonated with. Because that's probably the spot that you want to go and spend a little more time on to really ensure that that's the right spot, that that's going to be presented in that way that that person can feel connected with that particular passage. And it really does work like that. So I know if I'm feeling stuck, if I let go, I can actually, I envision taking whatever my problem is, putting it into my fingers and just sort of blowing it away and letting it go off to the universe. I used to have these little, my parents bought them somewhere, maybe in Mexico, but they were these little burden dolls. They were called burden dolls.
Oh, yeah.
And you would tell your burdens to each of these little dolls. And so I imagine whenever I have something that's on my mind, that I'm telling that to these little dolls, and then I just sort of wish them away and let those burdens go off to the universe. But I find that a lot of times I will do that, and then I will have a peace afterwards and clarity. That's the part that's important, is that you can really get clarity because you've allowed the burden to go away and not entrap you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that idea. And you could do that even using visualization. You know, you could imagine yourself going into, a room where you can take all of your troubles and burdens and you can take all of your anxiety and stress and frustrations and blocks and everything, and just allow yourself to like open up a little box and, just take everything from your mind and just place it in the little box. And then you could just, allow that box to just kind of do a little magic where, so you can infuse that box with some some energy that dissolves your problems and brings back to you plenty of resourceful, creative ideas that are just filled with inspiration and love and creativity. And so that's one thing that you could do. You could also kind of imagining going into that same room. You could imagine that in that room, there is a couch or a boardroom table or something like that. And around the table are, the most brilliant authors in your genre. And you could ask them for ideas to seed your next few chapters. What should this chapter be about? And you could literally just have them go around the room. So like before you even go into that meditation, you could just think about who are some of my favorite authors that I would like to see in there. Or you can allow that to happen spontaneously while you're just in the meditation and know that the right person that is ready to reveal a message to you about it will appear. And, and it's like putting on the genius head of one of your most, favorite authors. And we can, I believe that we tap into energy of thoughts all the time. And so why not just do that deliberately? Why not just allow ourselves just to tap into those ideas at will anytime?
Okay, I'm there. I'm on board with that. I'm like totally going to I'm going to visualize my favorite authors in my genre. I'm going to ask them for their advice. And then I'm going to meditate on it. I'm just going to pause and breathe and just allow myself to relax. I do think when we get a little tense, it's difficult to be creative.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. That's one of the whole reasons why going into meditation or hypnosis is so brilliant for writers, because it really does clear the writer's block by expanding that place in your mind, which is constricted due to stress. I mean, stress constricts, everything. And we think about it when you're feeling stressed, everything is you're holding in your stomach, you're holding in your throat, you're holding your breath, you're clenching your jaw, you're clenching your fist. Everything is constricting. But when you relax, everything can expand. And the same thing happens with your brain. Your brain, and the idea resources in your mind, the creativity centers in your brain are allowed to expand and grow and become much more resourceful. And the other thing too is just the way people talk to themselves about this, if you're feeling like you have writer's block, it's like, oh, I just, but you dwell on that idea, that's just going to create more of the same. And so we want to pay attention to the words that we're putting out there and the words that we're, saying to our own subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind's very literal. Even when you're joking, even it's just that unfortunately the subconscious mind doesn't have a sense of humor, even though we do. So a lot of times, we'll bash ourselves, but we're doing it like in a lighthearted way. It's not like you're really trying to be critical, but we have to really be careful about the things that we're saying to ourselves, and that the things that we're saying to ourselves also are true and believable when we're giving ourselves the suggestions that we want to be. But I highly encourage people to also just go into that meditative state. And it's not just about the visualizing, but it's also just about feeling yourself as relaxed, feeling that like when I go and relax, that I can create a buzz, I can create a euphoric feeling, I can create that creativity, that flow, that inspiration. I can feel that. Maybe even by bringing yourself back to those moments when you were tapping into that, bring yourself back to you've had those moments where you've just been able to write and write and write. And ideas just keep coming. And so allow yourself to just tap into that same energy, putting yourself in that same feeling and frame of mind and emotion of the flow. And then, and then say to yourself, I can access this feeling whenever I sit down to write, or, I'm generating this feeling more and more frequent. I'm choosing to generate this feeling of flow more and more frequently. And, and giving yourself those positive affirmations, those positive feelings, that euphoric state. The visualizations, though, to me, they're miraculous. Going into your imagination and just tapping into the brain of other people out there, other helpful people, and even not even just the authors, but the readers as well, tapping into oh, what would you like to know about? Like literally thinking of bringing one of your target audience, your target ideal person that this book is made for, and ask them, if it's a nonfiction book, for example, what do you really need to know to advance in this area of your life? What do you really need to know? And then just kind of interview them and think about, in your mind, and think of, allow them to tell you what they want to know. And then go to another resource. And it's like, well, how would I help them with this? How would I help them with this? And what are, so I write nonfiction. So that's kind of how that's how I do it. Writing fiction it's a different animal altogether. So it's hard for me to really articulate exactly how I would approach that. But it's like maybe you would use the same concept, and you could suggest something like, what would be entertaining? What would you find entertaining? Because it's really, or what would intrigue your interest, or I'm kind of a little bit at a loss when it comes to the fiction side of things, when it comes to the actual content gathering. But you can still tap into the same other resources that I was suggesting from before.
Oh, I don't think it would be challenging at all to envision your ideal audience and to find out what type of trip they want to take with you, because that's what you're doing, is you're taking your audience on a journey. And it could be it could be fantasy, it could be historic, it could be romantic. Regardless, you're taking them on a journey. But Victoria Gallagher, how can people find out more about you, about what you do and what you write?
Oh, yes. So they can go to my website. My website is victoriamgallagher.com. And, from there, I have all the books, my apps, my courses, all the things that I do. That's a portal to it all.
All right. Well, are you ready to go to the portal of the rapid fire questions?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Bring them on.
What is your favorite time of day?
Morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm weird. I mean, I just pop right out of bed. I love getting up. I loved going and making the coffee, going and sitting in my meditation room. My cat joins me during that time. And it's just like, it's quiet. Most of the year it's kind of dark. So I'm getting up before the sun and the birds and, just taking that tranquil time in the morning to meditate, journal, have my coffee, all of that. I won't elaborate that much on, but I love, I love morning.
Well, if you were going to have that cup of coffee with a version of your younger self, what year would it be?
Oh, I probably would go back to 25 seems to come to mind. I think at 25, I would just go back there. I think I was right about my first marriage and my stockbroker, and I was about to go on a pretty wild ride from that point forward. And I think I would go back and just want to instill a few tips to make the journey a little smoother.
Finally, what do you have planned for your next vacation?
We just got done with a pretty nice vacation earlier this year. We went to Ireland. So we take a trip almost every May. I would probably say another European adventure. We don't have it planned yet, but I would say somewhere like Italy or maybe go back to Iceland. We loved Iceland, or maybe go back to New Zealand, which is another great place we loved.
Well, I'm sure we can close our eyes and at least envision it.
Experience it that way.
Absolutely. Victoria Gallagher, thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, thank you so much, Alison. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And I wish your listeners all the success with their upcoming books and writing, and let the creativity and inspiration flow.
Oh, I couldn't say it better than myself. Thank you so much. You have been listening to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. Alison out. Boo! Hey guys, my boo is back. Yay! Victoria Gallagher is a hypnotherapy expert and life success coach. She's a worldwide leader in hypnotherapy, a best-selling author, international speaker, life success coach, and renowned authority on the law of attraction. She's dedicated her life to empowering people all over the world to successfully live a life of liberty aligned with their dreams through effective meditative recordings and online courses. For more information about Victoria and all she can do to help you write your best-selling book, visit victoriamgallagher.com. For more information about the Florida Writers Association, visit us at floridawriters.org. Until next time.